Hi, everybody. I just decided to pop on for no particular reason. I'm still messing with this to get y'all the best view you can have. That's pretty good. Okay, so I sent my Instagram and I need to get my photo. Y'all understand that coming on live is giving me something to do and get out of my cozy chair for a little while. Because I've been doing computer work and stuff like that. Where are you, pretty lady? Hey, hi, Gail. I'm doing great. Hey, Libby. I've been watching way too much TV while I design stamps and printables and stuff like that. And I mean, I've been doing some art stuff. I just clicked away from my thing I was looking at. Okay, come on. Where are you? Where did you go? And so back was on, and I just decided that to get my butt out of my chair and come in here and play with you guys. And whoever's available comes in, and if they don't, they'll catch it later if they want to. And I need my picture. There she is. Need my paint. I mean, it was just a thought that I had sitting in there. I wasn't set up. My computer wasn't set up. So I made it pretty quick. Okay, let's turn that like that. Take this off. YouTube. I'm still getting set up if you can't tell. Live, and there we are. Hey, Beck. Thanks for getting me out of my chair. Well, we're going to work on her for a little bit. Let me get a clean wipe. These are wonderful when you paint. Right now, before I forget it, I want to tell you guys that I have a Corona special. Anybody that's ever wanted to learn how to paint, this is your ticket. It's half off for a while. You have to bring your own limes. That's a joke. We'll get this. That's about right. Okay. There we go. And I need something to counteract my shadow, but that's pretty good. All right. Randy made me a Slim Fast. Good. Okay, spray the I made some stamps the other day. Of course, that's computer work, and I can do it in there. Let me show you. Here's one. Now, these are little. They're like, you know, about like that. Postage stamps for collaging. Where's the other one? There it is. I particularly like that one. Aren't those cool? All right, back to YouTube. The course also has 3 easy payments of $55. And needless to say, it won't stay that way very long, but as long as it needs to. Okay, I've got to fix her mouth. About up like that. Because I noticed I always take these in and put them under the TV where I see them often without really trying. And I noticed that her mouth was off. That's not a bad color. While it's mixed up, I think I'll just use some of it. Okie dokie. Now I'm working in Casein. For those of you who've missed the last 2 sessions with her, Casein is an ancient paint material. Oh, Siri, go away. It's okay.
I'm not sure I understand.
I doubt that you will. I'm mixing a little better dark. That's better. If anybody wants to be the vocal monitor to help me with chat, I'll just go ahead and put the link there, and then if you want to, just hop on and I will let you in. Come on. Okay. Down, down. Yeah, Gail, I've been on way too much too. I understand. I mean, I'll try to keep an eye on it. You know how I fail at that all the time, though. Now, I am still working my old way of getting everything to look finished. That's my little thing. Even though I'm trying to loosen up. Casein is a milk-based product, but uses the very same pigments that you're used to in all your paints, even your craft paints, unless they're dye-based. Anything that uses real pigment, oil paints, watercolors, acrylics, anything that uses real pigments, they all use the same pigment. The only difference between those, between watercolor and oil, is the binder that is used to hold it together. So soft pastels are the same pigments. They're held together with gum. I'm not going to say it right. Tarraganth. It's kind of a resin type, but it allows the pastels to be used to go into stick form enough so that you can hold them. Pastels have the least amount of binder of any of the pigments. So it's like painting with pure pigment. Oil uses safflower oil. And I just read something the other day that confirmed what I've been telling you guys all along. There is nothing to harm you in oil paint. It is mixed with oils that are similar to what you cook with. So if you are allergic to any kind of oils like that, then it may affect you. But what people are allergic to and think that oil paints do is they're allergic to the solvents that are used, not the oil paint. And there are a million different ways to paint with oils without using solvents. Watercolors are the same pigments. And they use gum arabic as a binder. This is casein. It uses a milk protein. Remember back in the, maybe in the 20s or so, you find old furniture and it's got that paint on it that just won't come off, called milk paint. That is casein. They used to make their own. And you can make your own if you want to. There are a lot of folks making a casein binder now, the emulsion. It's a little bit tricky, making your own, but you could if you really wanted to. I am using Jack Richardson casein in a tube. Whoops. And they are the only ones that make it in a tube at this point. Who knows what will happen later. But I know that Sennelier and I don't know, maybe Schminke all sell an emulsion, but none of them sell. I'm just going to go ahead and repaint that. None of them sell the paint in a tube. I'm using this because I was offered, well, everybody was really, if you want to paint in Casein. Jack Richardson offered a $140 worth of Casein material if you would enter their Casein show or competition. And I've been wanting to try this for a long time. The next thing I want to try is egg tempera, which is this, you're going to get tired of hearing this, the same pigments mixed with the yolk of an egg. And that one I might try to do myself. Okay, let me check with you guys. I promised I would stay in touch. And there's a rosemary. Hey, Rosie. All right, so we've covered a lot of this stuff. I'm going to keep going. And if I had not diddled so much, but I like this part. I like the part after I get the likeness and everything is in position where it's supposed to be. This is my favorite part, is just seeing how far I can get the likeness, or the skin tones or whatever. And by doing so, I'm learning to use Casein. Rosemary, I caught a little bit of your live last night. But you didn't notice I was there, and I got there kind of toward the end on your Oriental book. Slow down. You don't have to act like you're going to have it taken away from you. One of my very first tutors said, if I could just get her to slow down. So I remember Sweet Ann. She died a couple years ago. All my mentors have died, and you know what that means. It's my turn to mentor. It's an old art tradition going back to the Renaissance times, where the masters trained the apprentices and taught them everything they knew and got free help, because being an artist in the Renaissance was a lot of work. You had to grind your own pigment. You could go to a color man, that's what they called them. It was kind of like a pharmacist, and order your paint for the day, but that was a daily thing because there was no way to store it. Sure couldn't put it in the freezer. So you would train your apprentice to buy it in whatever form you wanted it in, and they would come running back to your studio and prepare the paint, which probably included grinding it, mulling it, You've seen people like Patti, Tolley, Parrish do that when they're making their watercolors. So you mull it, and then you add a certain amount of oil, and you mull it until it's the consistency that your master wants. And these colors were typically earth colors because those were very cheap because they were made from whatever the clay is around their area. And that's where sienna comes from, like burnt sienna. It's from Siena, Italy. Umber is from Umbria. So they would use those colors first, which were the earth colors. Because they were cheap. I didn't really want to do that right there, but there, that is better. Except this needs to be. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good right there. So they would paint all of these magnificent, and that is a shirt coming right here. Okay, well, don't get yourself sideways yet. They would paint their masterpieces with the earth tones, the greens and the browns, until they had all of the essentials, like the shading. And what I did just there was I measured my picture where the side of her neck is, and it's right about in the middle of where the nose is, and that's my neck. And the darkest color is on her chin. So, and then the apprentice would progress, and after he, and usually it was a he, progressed after several years of being an apprentice, he might progress to preparing the boards for the master to work on. And he might do that for a couple of years. And this was all handled by the guilds, kind of like a trade union. You couldn't just open up shop the way we do now and become an artist. You had to apprentice. But painters were really highly regarded in those days because they were the only ones who could record life and paint the important people, their likeness, because there were no cameras, of course. And so anyway, their main clients were the church and the wealthy people. The church would sometimes put these people on, support them. So that's why so many of the old paintings are of religious subjects. It wasn't because the artist was drawn to that particular subject matter. And this little collar comes out a little bit, like right there. Okay, I guess I better check you guys. Yes, your Soji screen. I'm sorry. I missed that. You know how I am. I'm using a very little amount of water, just enough to dampen my brush. While this can be used thinned like watercolor, I don't want to use it like that. Now, what my idea is here is, because this was an ancient material, medium, this is the material that was used to paint wall decorations. See, I want a little bit of purple. It was used to paint the Sistine Chapel. Anything that's painted in those old buildings in Europe was more than likely this, or encaustic. It could be that too. If they painted into the wet plaster, so you'd have your plaster trades. If the artist then came along and painted while the plaster was wet, it was called fresco. If they came and painted when the plaster was dry, it was called tempera. So pretty much one and the same. So it's cool, I think, to be able to work with materials that were used that long ago. Art is art is art. Back to my apprentices, I'm almost done with what little knowledge I have on that. After a long period of time of training, the apprentice was allowed to work on the master's paintings. So the master would probably start it, or maybe the apprentice started it, who knows? And he would paint it as far as he was allowed to. And then the master would come in and take over. Now, at some point, the master was the one who got to put on the expensive colors of red and purple and blue, very prized colors. The blue came from lapis lazuli stones. So back in that day, can you imagine what it would be like to have to grind a stone to a fine powder? That's why it was so expensive. So the master might come in and he would finish the painting off with the expensive stuff. And that is how it was done in medieval times. So mentoring has always been a very big facet of painting. And once your mentors are gone, it falls to you to carry on the tradition. And I have had some awesome mentors. So, like I said, it's time for me to pass it on. So, there you have it. And in my class, I teach what I learned from them, even though it took me about 5 years to figure it all out. I had to get my information from wherever I could, from studying, from online, from reading books, to just staying on it. And when it finally clicked, I thought, well, shit. Sorry, I do curse. I could have been miles ahead in my painting if I had known those things first. So that's when my class was born. I don't teach projects. I don't teach how to make a book. I teach you how to learn to paint. And once you have that, you can do any online class that you want, and you will understand how to get yourself unstuck, and you won't have to depend on another class or another tutor to explain it to you a different way, because you've already been exposed to it. There are projects in the class, but they are specific to a beginner or intermediate person who is coming to painting for the first time, and how you approach the different main mediums like oil, watercolor, and caustic. So there's that. So let's talk about something else. And the other thing is that that the class is done. There is nothing. It is there and ready to go. You can go through it as fast as you want. I don't supply the materials anymore because that added a couple $100 to the class. So what I do now is just give you the supply list, and you may already have some of the stuff. I haven't promoted it a whole lot because I'm not comfortable promoting my own stuff. I'm actually kind of shy when it comes to that. I can promote you all day long. But not me. That's a cleft mark in her chin that I just keep worrying over. So if y'all want to promote it, if you're not interested in learning how to paint for yourself, be my guest. And if you look at the enroll page and don't find it's not clear to you, let me know so that I can edit it, because I trust you guys. Now I've completely boogered up my white and it's got purple in it. There, I just got some of it out. Doing a class on your own, like I had to do it, or like I do it, is hard because you've got to be chief cook and bottle washer for the whole thing. I'm having trouble now getting the purple out of it. Oh, bless their hearts. The Hounds of the Baskervilles. Hey, everybody that's out there in YouTube land. Or those who watch on replay. Last time y'all were here with me, I told you what I'm doing here. This is the way the cheek turns, and my light is coming in here. If you imagine that this is a ball, the light hits here, and as it curves around that ball, it's going to get darker, go into the shadow. So what I do here is put a little bit of a shadow, which is this greenish color, right in there. And then I put a little bit of a whitish color right here, because the moose right here is another ball. That's one of the keys to learning to draw or paint. Now we've got another one of those balls right here. I need to work on that one some more. Right here. So the light will hit it here, and as it fades off into here, you'll have dark, a little bit of dark under that cheek. And then the dark comes on down. Now on this, because the ball is going this way, this is the high point, and then it's going to slowly, gradually go over into the darkness. So we put the dark on the inside of the moose, technical term. And we put the whitish on this part of the cheek, because it's going down and then the cheek's coming back up. Come on, baby, you're looking good. We called her Eleanor, right? Casein, I've told you this, but there may be some new folks watching. Applies a lot like gouache. You can thin it out like watercolor, but if you want to do that, you might as well use watercolor. And the same with gouache. If you want it to be thin like watercolor, then just use watercolor, because that's not what they were designed for. This stencil right here is from Patti Parrish, part of her petroglyph. Petroglyph. I'll get it in a minute. Part of her collection with, it's in the bottom. It's underneath. I put the links underneath. I think it's iStencil, but I'm not sure. There's another company with almost the same name, and it confuses me. And she's coming out with a brand new line or set of stencils that I might pull out and use this afternoon. We are both on the Robyn McClendon jelly team, robynsjelly.com, jelly team, hashtag Robyn's jelly team. And we're using each other's products, printables, in our intuitive journaling. Slow down. Hope y'all enjoy these painting demos as much as I do. I get all kinds of emails on people who really enjoy it, so I try to mix it up for you. I'm beginning to do it a little bit heavier for the look that I want later. This stuff dries really, really quick. So you can do layers better than you can do them in gouache, actually. Because gouache is a little more watercolory. The milk binder is quicker to dry. It won't cure completely for several days or weeks. But once it cures, it's permanent. Gouache is always removable. So that means that once it dries a little bit, I don't have any problem coming back in on top of it without it picking up that underneath layer and ruining it. I control the mud. How about that? Just spray it every once in a while to keep it wet. This light right here is almost in shadow. Let me check you. Hey, Teresa. You're very welcome. All right, where's that red that I was liking so much? The upper lip is always in shadow. Again, it's curving in, so the darker areas will be here. Yeah, come on. The The face is just a series of balls. And her little thing right there is not as big or as deep. Now I know why my shoulder's been hurting so bad. It's this. I'm not really positioned. Ah, come on. No, 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 no. Quit that. It's a little bit too big, but I'll get it. You put it on and then you take it off. Just a little bit of a white line. And the lips coming out at the top. So it catches the light. Need some more red. I have no idea what kind of lipstick they wore then. That's practically all dark. And so is this. All right, let me check you guys. Y'all being quiet today. Everybody's probably bored watching all the videos that, but I think that's a good thing. This is our social life right now. I'm used to being home and not self-quarantine, but pretty damn close to it. Because you can't be a serious artist if you're going to spend your time on the phone. Now I'm talking about myself now, not anybody else. You have to figure out what you're doing by yourself. I love you, but and at some point I will look at this and say, that's enough. But since I just said that I enjoy this process, it's a challenge for me. I'm still not happy with this little part. If you're not happy with something, it's usually value, which is the lighted dark of a thing. Very soft lines. Oh, now they figured out I'm in here. And I don't want that to end up looking chalky. That's why I put some white on and then immediately come back with a little bit of my fresh color. Maybe that thing attaches up there. And after an afternoon spent with you guys like this, I'm always so lighthearted. Keep me sane. Okay, practice what you preach. So if this is a ball, then it's going to do that. And it's going to have some white right in here. And it's going to blend right here. And then the other side, it's a ball here. So my highlight will be here. And then it fades into nothing. And I can use a little chunky right here. Except I don't like it. Okay, so here is where it goes. That's my boy. That's why I don't get out of my chair as much as I need to. Because he wants his mama. He likes to sit in my lap. Okay, let's go back up here. Now that's had a little chance to set. And bring out the purple. No. Now they're fighting over me. He wants mama. All of ours are. Keep adding to that darkness because I don't want it to look like she's got a mustache. This is not the bearded lady. It's still showing me purple, which I don't want right there. And that's my fault. Now just a little bit of dampness in my brush will make that soak into the weave a little more of the canvas. Now we want just a little bit of darkness right there for that cheekbone. I promise this is about the last pass on this. It's got to come together here because the cleft is coming up here. That's better. I'm just having a big old time here. Now the little flange thing on your nose right here is also a ball right here. So if the light's hitting there, then the light will hit here on the bigger ball and over here just a bit. You won't even really see it. And then you'll have just a little bit of dark on the edge of this ball and on the edge of this ball. And I like in my eyes, I like a little bit of red. And that will go away. Her nose is a cast shadow, which means it will make a hard line. But I don't want it to be a hard enough line that it messes with my white area. Put it on and then you take it off.
All right, let's go. Come on.
Now a little chunk of white right here, because the light is hitting really heavy on that. A little bit more right there. And just a little bit of white right there. Now there's also, this is a photographic camera, people know this, and I've got to get my arm in the shadow to get it. I can't see it. Right as the light turns on a shape that's sticking out like the nose. Right as it turns from light into shadow, there's a bright red faint line. They've got a name for it. I don't know what it is. And so there it is. This is dead down here. Here we go. Dang purple I mixed up. I'm putting a little bit of my lightest yellow back into the skin tone. Well, my mom is still staying in, bless her heart. She is used to going just like Randy is. I'm still soaking into the canvas here. But I'm going to be using that here in a little bit. When I start getting a little messier. All right, now her face is a little bit redder than her. I'm going to let that set up just a little. Her face is a little bit redder than her forehead. Red that up just a little. And I'll sometimes add alizarin crimson, like I did just there, for a little difference in the red, or the skin tone, I should say. We've still got these white spots where the brow bone is. And we got a little bit here. Eh. And we got a little bit right in here. All right, I still have my 7 that came in there. And I need to widen that just a hair. And I want a little more reddish back in those lips. Whew. Okie dokie. How are y'all doing? I love the way I positioned Patti's stencil there. I've got another one down here. Yeah, this, whoops, down here. That comes down just a little, and it's really not even white right there. Oh, I guess it is. I guess it could be. It makes them match a little bit better. I need to mix up a little black. Her eyelashes. Her iris. And just a little line right there to simulate lashes. Now then, do y'all want me to keep working on this, or do you want to go to journaling? Ooh, that's looking good on the camera. Y'all take a vote. Let me know. A little bit of wet mark. Nobody saying anything. Venetian plaster, where are you? That's amber shellac. All right, here's my idea. This is Venetian plaster. I ordered it from Amazon. And it is an acrylic base, which the old stuff wasn't. Of course, they didn't have plastics then. And here's where I start experimenting. See, it's so nice to know where the bottle opener is so you don't have to get up and look for it. That's where I want my whole studio to be. And I've had this stored upside down so that it would keep it from drying wrong. whatever drying wrong is. Here's a jelly plate cover. Now I need something like this. And now I need to mix a little bit of a rich beige color. I believe you did it. You're going to have to go back now and get some more white. Okay, I'm going to get the color first and then you got to remind me to clean my lid off. This is like icing on a cake. Always start small because by the time you end up, you're going to have a big old pile of this. Now it's kind of a flesh color. All right. Use my wet wipe and get this pink off of this. Off the lid. Okay. Anybody still with me? No, you don't want to dip that in there like that, goose. Rosemary's probably laughing her butt off if she's still here. We like to give each other a hard time. I may have to do a few canvases. Sure don't want to waste this. Now, if I want to gray it just a little, just a touch of ultramarine. Okay, that's getting close. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now I'm just going to apply this. And I want to keep Patti's that's what I said. I want to cover up Patti's I've been dying to do this for days. Alrighty, let me put this back on. It's good enough for who it's for. Alright, now I'm going to see if I want it totally smooth. Okay, wipe this off. Who's here? Okay, Gail. Good. Let's see how many are there here. We still got 7 or so. You know what? I think I see something happening here that I want. Putting another thick layer so I can carve back into it. I want it to look thick. And then carve back into it like it's a thick coat of plaster. As though someone came along in the 15th century and decided that they didn't want this woman hanging on their office building, so they covered her up. And then somebody else comes along and says, oh my God, let's restore that. Capiche? This is so much fun. So somebody has come along and looked at this little wall in Pompeii, and they've decided that they want to restore it. So the first thing they have to do is get all the plaster off to reveal what's underneath, and hope that they didn't mess up the portrait while they were doing it. Now, there will also be some areas around her face, or in her face. Icing a cake. All right, now where are you going to put that? Seeing as how you've worked so hard on her face and you don't want, how about right there? How about right there? Panic? Did you, who lost their breath? I'm using more of this than I thought I would. This might take forever to dry. another way. Crack marks. Okay. Okay. That's all I can do right now. Bye, Gail. You are welcome. I don't know what time I came on. Well, I used almost all that I mixed up. So let's do another page. Well, let me get this up. Ah! That's why I don't keep good earphones in here. Take a picture. Okay. Coming back to y'all now, whoever's left. And I will show you the picture I just took. And I'm going to carve my name in there while I'm thinking about it. Yeah, that can do better than that. You did it wrong. I'm not sure what I did there, but I don't like it. Okay, so that goes up. Nope, that's too big. I just need this will work. This is a earth green pastel pencil from Generals. Yeah. Nice and out there in your face. Okay, clean your pencil off good. Alrighty, I think I'm done. Let me see what time it is, 5:44. I think this would be a good time to quit. Let me see who's all on here, if there's anybody left. And there doesn't appear to be. So anyone who catches this on replay, feel free to fast forward. And we will work on this again when we come back or when it's dry. Okay, bye guys. Love you.